Cool.
What did you think about the newest Endgame? Tell me your true thoughts.
I thought it was the newest Endgame.
I mean, the only Endgame.
Yeah, the only Endgame. Yeah.
Well, there was also the Game of Thrones finale.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one.
Why?
Because we have differing opinions.
Wasn't it everything you wanted it to be?
No, it wasn't everything I wanted it to be. But I don't feel like they could have ended it in any other way. Like, I feel like that was the best way to end it. Because I think if they ended it any other way, it would have been like people would have been asking for another one. Whereas I think the whole point was that they were trying to
give it a definitive ending.
Yeah, give it a big ending. Like, we'll close it off. Maybe not.
But
a big
they didn't.
ending.
I mean, who knows? They could be like a spin-off Arya show where she also does nothing.
Yeah, but they might do that. Like, but then it's off from Game of Thrones. Like, I think they were talking about doing like
a spin-off Jon Snow show where he also does nothing.
Yeah.
Spin-off Sansa Snow show.
She does nothing.
Annoying.
I think they were talking about doing like a prequel thing, like what built up to where Game of Thrones started.
So I think the prequel is meant to be set like thousands of years beforehand.
Maybe.
So like it's
like back to White Walkers again.
Yeah, so it's how the White Walkers were created and stuff.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So who knows? And it's a different creative team.
Yeah.
So it's not Benioff and Weiss.
Okay.
Who are the writers for Game of Thrones?
The Game of Thrones now. So would they have to change it, like be a different name and everything? Must be.
No, it'd still be like, I don't know, Song of Fire and Song of Ice and Fire, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I think the other reason why I think maybe it ends so weird is because they went so off track, like because the books haven't been written to like where they're at now.
So what I've heard is that the George R.R. Martin gave them, these are the plot points that you have to hit.
Yeah.
So like I'm guessing, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm guessing like, all right, Daenerys Targaryen goes off kilter, like
big time. Yeah.
Jon Snow does nothing.
Jon Snow kills her.
Yeah, Jon Snow kills her. Yeah. Arya kills the White Walker.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. Bran becomes king.
Yeah.
All of this crazy stuff, and then they're like, okay, so let's just make this into
a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I think like you're right. Like if they were given those plot points, then like if they'd been written into the book previously, you would see a lot more focus on those particular plot points. But those big events that happened, I feel like were very much brushed past. Like you didn't know Arya was even coming, and then 3 minutes later, the fight was over because she'd killed the White Walker.
Yes, and
then like Daenerys went batshit in less than an episode. And then, like, you could see it coming, but she went batshit in less than an episode. And then there's no real build-up to Jon killing her. Like, it kind of just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I feel like these major plot points that they were potentially given were just brushed over points. And then they filled in the spaces rather than making the episodes about those plot points.
And then time is a different thing, too. Like, if you look at, like, season 1 to season... What was the last season we just watched? Was that season 8? Yeah, so season 7. It takes, 3, 4, maybe even a whole season to traverse the distance from King's Landing...
King's Landing.
King's Landing to Winterfell. And they did that in, half an episode.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, that's true.
Time is so condensed in this 6-episode arc as well.
Yeah, as opposed to in the early seasons, like, there was a season worth of people travelling from... point A to point B.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, I'm dissatisfied.
Yeah. When you put it that way, I can see why you're dissatisfied. As I said, like I'm dissatisfied, but I can see why they ended it, how they ended it.
No, I get the ending. I'm happy with the ending. I just wish we were filled in more. I think that could have happened over 2 seasons.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are unhappy with the fact that it ended pleasantly rather than, I think everyone wanted it to end with another big death. But like,
what? Who else could die?
Well, everyone? That's what I mean. Like everyone. Like I had someone say to me the other day, like it began with fire and blood. Like why wouldn't it end with fire and blood?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, because otherwise then there's just another season like coming.
Well, there was a bit where Samwell was like, hey, why don't we have instead of having like a kingship or whatever, what's it called when that you have a king and queen.
Oh, a democracy.
Yeah, why don't you have a democracy?
Yeah, and they're all like, no.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought that might have been how this thing ended.
So did I was like, oh, this is the birth of democracy. I get it. Okay, interesting way of finishing it. Fair enough.
that would have been terrible.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Or hilarious. That's a sort of like, thank you so much for getting to the end of this really long-winded series.
Yeah.
And fuck you.
Yeah.
Such
We're going to kill it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
So that's a bad ending to a series. But, Avengers Endgame.
Avengers, Avengers, I think was... Like, I think it was you that said to me, like, it was just like a letter to the fans, almost.
Yeah,
like,
because
there was so many little, like, I guess... I don't know if idiosyncrasies is the right word, but like repeats from
callbacks.
Like callbacks. Yeah, like little one-liners and stuff from the earlier ones that everyone sits in the cinema and goes, oh, yeah, we've heard that one before, that sort of thing. But I don't actually think, as far as a viewing film goes, and like the plot, I didn't think it was as enjoyable to watch as the other ones. But it's as enjoyable because you got such an attachment to the characters.
Yeah.
Like, if that was the first one, you wouldn't have been...
You wouldn't have cared at all.
You wouldn't have cared as much.
It would have been like watching the Justice League.
No, it would have been better than watching the Justice League. There's no compare anything that DC's ever done to Marvel.
Have you watched Shazam, though?
No, I never watched it.
Oh,
no.
It's pretty good.
Is it? Yeah.
Did you watch Aquaman?
Yeah, I watched Aquaman.
What did you think about it? You were disappointed?
Yeah, I was disappointed. I thought he was...
There was so much movie in that movie.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good, but I didn't think it was like... what's his name, the actor's name?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I thought Jason Momoa was good, but I didn't think that the film was well done.
That's fair. I think they tried to stuff a lot into that movie.
Yeah. I also had the discussion with someone the other day about DC versus Marvel, and saying, like, I don't think DC can compete purely because of the budget that Marvel's on. Like, now that Marvel is so massive...
And owned by Disney.
Like, their budget is just ridiculous to do all these things, and there's no one else really keeping up as far as like cinematography and like effects with Marvel. Like, I don't think there's anyone else out there at the moment that is keeping up to the same degree.
Have you ever watched any of like the DC animated TV movies?
Like what? No, I don't think so.
There's a bunch of DC animated movies, and they're really good.
Yeah.
So I think they have the ability to tell really good stories. They just don't do it when it comes to like the live action. And then like some of the DC TV shows are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I just watched Doom Patrol, which is like a really new series.
Yeah, never heard of it.
And that was really good. But then you watch, obviously, like everyone watches like The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and they're kind of like repetitive.
Yeah, Arrow got really repetitive. I remember you and me were really into Arrow when it first came out, and then
well, if you're a fitness enthusiast, as I'm hoping, like the one or two listeners that are still listening to this are,
I was about to say I can say whatever I want, can't I?
Watching Stephen Amell like do the salmon ladder.
Yeah,
that's what got me into. I was like, yeah, I'll watch Arrow.
Yeah, because I watched it on the ad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching something else, and like we would have been watching like MasterChef or something, and then that ad came on, and you were like, "Oh, watch that! Like, that's sick." Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we should start talking about fitness again.
Yeah. Okay.
You just came back from this cool seminar thingy.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Also, wait, for the people that don't know who you are, Steve is one of my oldest friends in fitness. We started training at very similar times together back at CrossFit Norwest in like 2014.
Yeah, maybe.
2013?
No, like 2012.
Really?
Yeah, 2012. Okay. Yeah.
So really back in the day.
Yeah, ages ago.
Steve was a little kid. I was only slightly older.
A little man.
I didn't have a beard.
Yeah.
So I looked like a little kid.
Yeah.
And that's why we became friends.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think started with just 1 RM snatches every day, didn't it? Yeah.
Snatch every day.
Snatch every day.
The only program that truly gets you to a 90 kilo snatch in less than 3 months.
7 years. It took me about that long to get there. Yeah. Yeah, so I did that seminar yesterday. Yeah, I did that seminar yesterday.
And what was it again?
The Wim Hof one. So basically we started out with like maybe half an hour of the guy who was taking it. It wasn't actually Wim, obviously. It was a guy that's living over here. I know, disappointing. I wanted to meet the crazy Dutch guy that
created everything.
Yeah, created everything. Ran marathons in sub-zero temperatures and that sort of thing. But he started off talking about who Wim was and how the method came to be and that sort of thing.
How did the method come to be?
The story that he tells?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, the story...
Give me the Game of Thrones Season 6 version.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the story that he tells is that, basically, he lived... I don't know, I'm not 100% sure what country he's from. I know he's Dutch, but...
Holland?
Yeah.
Wherever.
Yeah, wherever. And then he was at home and he had an ice lake near him or something, and it had just melted over enough that you could actually get into the lake, and for some reason he decided to be stupid enough to go and actually get in this lake. And then, I don't know, he said the story that he tells is that he felt like there's not really anything else you can think about when you're that cold other than what you're thinking about. You can't think about the outside world out of the water because you just, all other thoughts just kind of flush away when you're that cold.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense, but then at the other time, aren't you just thinking, holy shit, I'm cold? That's about all that's going through your head. So after we spoke a little bit about him, then we went through his little breathing method. So they talk about, they've got their 3 pillars in the Wim Hof thing, which is breathing, cold exposure, and then mindset. So mindset's just like any other thing, believing that what you're actually doing is going to help. And then, because if you don't actually believe that it's going to work, then it's probably not going to work. It's one of those things that if you're sitting there, for example, with the breathing, which is on its way to being pretty much meditation, if you're just sitting there thinking about, this isn't really working for me, then it's probably not going to work because you're not...
You need to have a level of buy-in.
Yeah, exactly. You need to actually buy into what they're telling you for it to actually work. So then the breathing was pretty cool. I think it's on its way to being like what we were talking about yesterday with holotropic breathing, but it's not actually there. I think holotropic is supposed to go...
Is it trophic or tropic?
Tropic. I think it's tropic, yeah. Holotropic breathing is supposed to be significantly longer. I think you're lying down, doing almost that hyperventilating breathing for 1 to 2 hours for guys that are good at it, and it's supposed to give you that
psychedelic experience.
Yeah, that psychedelic experience, because I think it was designed, holotropic breathing was designed by a guy that did a whole bunch of those studies into LSD and stuff in the 60s, and then he designed it and sort of likened the experience that he got, the head high, to the same experience as what he was getting on those sorts of things. And then I think the Wim Hof idea is it's just very condensed version.
Yeah.
So the...
And the uses are meant to be different as well, right?
Yeah. So
you're not doing this for...
a high, no.
Even holotropic breathing might be not just for the high itself or the fun of the high, but for some sort of transcendent experience.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a transcendent experience, but this is about performance and longevity as well.
Yeah, so health, longevity, and then can be used in a performance way as well. What they spoke about was, so you have you have your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous systems.
You do?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So in your
and what are they? Just in case someone listening at home doesn't know what they are.
So you have your your fight or flight response, and then you have your relax, calm down, go to sleep side. So your fight or flight response is the one that you do when you're training, if you go back to where we look at it from science point of view, when you're out hunting, when you were thousands of years ago when you lived in a cave, you were out, obviously you had to be ready for anything, animals and that sort of thing. So you had that flight or flight response going all the time, where you've got an elevated heart rate, you've got your brain's ready to, or your endocrine system's ready to release adrenaline at any moment and that sort of thing to help you get away or fight or hunt, gather food, those sorts of things.
That's the prime place to get maximum performance.
Yeah, so being in that system is where you're going to get your output.
So on the competition floor, that's where you want to be.
Yeah, that's where you want to be. And then the idea of the breathing, well, what they talk about is that we're so stuck in that because everything we do is in that system where, like, even if we're sitting inside, we have that artificial light source there. Yeah, like this. Not really, we're in a bit of a dark room, but you have that artificial light source there that is, I guess, telling your brain that you're outside, gathering food, doing all those sorts of things, so you're constantly switched on. And then very rarely do we ever actually get to that point fully where our brain goes, okay, we can sit back and relax now and recover the body, do all the things that are required for, if we look at it from a performance point of view, like regaining muscle tissue, sleeping properly. So I think a lot of people hit that stage where they go to sleep, but they're not really getting that good quality sleep. And part of that is probably that fight or flight system is still in touch for too long. They're not really properly switching that off and getting into that, okay, I'm going to go to sleep now, where my heart rate can lower, my brain function can switch off a little bit, and I can recover a little bit better. So that's what that breathing is supposed to be sort of for. It's supposed to give you the opportunity to switch off, and it's supposed to, I guess, in a way, it's tricking your body into going, okay, we can settle down now. Like, everything's done. We're not out gathering food, hunting animals or anything like that. We're at home, we're lying in bed, or we're lying on the floor or on a mat, whatever. We can try and relax ourselves now.
But you could also use breathing to ramp yourself up too, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So the system that they're talking about when they're doing the Wim Hof method is they're saying you're trying to expel all that CO2 from your body, and then you're increasing your oxygen levels and that sort of thing. So they talk about alkalizing your blood, and that's one of the big things that then allows your fight or flight system to switch off a little bit. The fact that there's more oxygen in your blood, there's less CO2 floating around, so there's less acidity. When you've got that slightly acidic blood, your body is going to be constantly switched on to try and stop that, to try and reverse that process, because it tends to happen when you start getting that really sort of breathing going on.
Yeah, okay. So what was the breathing that they showed you?
The protocol?
Yeah.
So it's in through the nose and then a short relaxation breath out through the mouth, and it's supposed to be, the thing that they said was 100% in, 60% out, and you're not supposed to actually think about breathing out as much as you are just relaxing sort of your diaphragm and your breathing muscles and allowing the air to expel. So
you said it was like a sigh, right?
Yeah, it's almost like a sigh, so it's that.
Yeah.
But then they're also talking about making sure you're breathing correctly, so going not only in through the nose, but make sure you breathe from the belly up. So you use your diaphragm to expand your belly first, and then breathe into your lungs after that.
Yeah, and you said, you don't want to hold all that tension up in your traps. And
so a lot of the reason why a lot of people anyway have such massively tight neck muscles and that sort of thing is because you have those secondary breathing muscles up in your shoulders. And when people try and take that big deep breath in, they shrug their shoulders up to try and use their shoulders to lift up sort of like around their thoracic and create a little bit more space for air. Whereas if you stay set down and using your primary breathing muscles properly, so your diaphragm, then you don't create that much tension up in your neck. So learning to do that. And I think the protocol itself was 30 to 40 breaths, 3 to 4 rounds. And at the end of each round, on your final exhale, so after your last, it's then a hold, and you just hold until you get that big urge to breathe.
Yeah, so it's a hold on the exhale.
It's a hold on the exhale. So you haven't breathed, you're not forcefully breathing out the rest, because remember, it's just that, it's not then getting all the air out. So you still got a little bit sitting in there, but it's then holding at that point, and then when you get that urge to breathe, it's, and then you're trying to hold the top of that breath for 10 seconds.
So
and that's around.
Sorry, again, just to reiterate, how many breaths to start?
30 to 40 breaths.
30 to 40 breaths. Hold out.
Hold out on the exhale. Yep.
And hold in for 10.
Hold in for 10. Yeah.
And then
And then start it, and then breathe out. and start another round straight away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how many rounds did you guys do?
We did 4 rounds.
Yeah. And that was preceding the ice stuff, or?
This was before the ice bath. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was interesting.
How was the ice bath?
The ice bath? Cold. So I think, I'm not 100, you probably know better than me what the exact protocol for an ice bath is, but I think...
I just guess.
Yeah.
I just make it cold enough that it's like, it kind of it feels uncomfortable, but you're in there for 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Like for someone that actually does this stuff like pretty regularly, like ice baths and saunas and stuff, like I don't know much about it. I just do it because I like the feeling.
Yeah, so the ice bath, I think, like, don't quote me on it, but the protocol in some of the studies that I've read, I had to do a study for it with uni and that sort of thing, was 10 to 13 degrees, somewhere about that. It just needs to be low enough that obviously the
So like, really, we could just go out into the Hawkesbury today because that'd be the water temperature.
Like that would probably be, Hawkesbury probably wouldn't be quite that cold, but yeah, like pretty close. You could probably, like with the temperature at the moment, just fill up a bath, leave it outside overnight, and then have an ice bath the next day.
Yeah.
And it would be cold enough. But this ice bath was probably as close to zero as you're going to get it.
So yeah, because you mentioned there wasn't really any water in there.
No, yeah, so they filled the ice baths up about, I'd say, a third of the way. And then we had 3 ice baths and 47 bags of ice. And we used every single bag of ice. So by the end, you could have sat a block of wood, like a small bit of ply or something on top, and it would have just sat on top of the ice and not gotten wet. It was just ice. And it was funny because we were all standing there going, are you sure we need any more ice? Like, there's just ice in there. How are we even going to submerge? And he's like, more ice, more ice. Like, all right, we can go more ice then. And then, yeah, classic me, being a bit of a bitch. Didn't want to go, so I saved myself for last. And then about halfway through the second group, thought to myself, the water is just getting colder the longer I wait. Like, probably would have been better off getting in first.
Oh, because it's melting as the ice melts.
Yeah, as the ice sort of cools down the water.
Were you hoping that the bodies warmed it up a little?
I was. That's exactly what was going through my head. I was like, I'll wait until everyone's been and they warm the water up a bit, forgetting that there's 30 kilos of ice in there as well. Yeah, but it's cold. It was very cold. Definitely one of those things that you just have to commit to. Like, he made us first. I don't know whether he was screwing with us or trying to get us to somewhat, obviously not acclimatise to it, but get used to it first, where he got us all for 2 minutes to stick one arm in and touch the bottom, which ends up being like sort of your shoulder is underwater and you're leaning in, and hold there for 2 minutes and just get used to it. I don't know whether if that helped or whether if that just made everyone worry more about how cold it was going to be when your whole body was in there.
Well, like the body parts that seem to get the coldest are like your hands, feet, and head, right?
Yeah.
So like if you can, even if you're in an ice bath, if you keep your head, hands, and feet out of the water, you can actually like do pretty well easily. As soon as you put those in, you seem to like...
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think as from like a pain point of view, you're definitely right. Like, I found that the most painful part, and even for the 20 minutes afterwards, were my fingers.
Yeah.
Like, my fingers were super cold, like in a lot of pain.
And you're not lifting or anything after.
No, yeah. But I think one of the things that he said anyway, the guy that was running the seminar, is that your limbs and stuff, obviously, and I think we spoke about it briefly yesterday, they can sacrifice a lot of heat. Like, your limbs can sort of hit that 0 degree skin temperature before anything super dangerous is going to happen. It's all about your core temperature. Like, if your core temperature starts to drop below that 37.2 or above in hot conditions, then you're going to be at some serious risk of either like hypothermia or hyperthermia, going too hot.
Yeah. And what do you know what the mechanism for frostbite is?
No, I actually have no idea the mechanism for frostbite. Although something interesting about hypothermia, like cold, is the whole reason why they tell you not to heat someone up too fast if they've gone into that like too cold state. is people generally don't actually get that hypothermia while they're cold. They get it on the reheating point because all that cold blood that's sitting in their limbs and that sort of thing, when the body realizes, okay, we're not in a cold temperature anymore, it doesn't gradually bring itself back up. It just allows the blood from the arms to get back to the heart and the heart to get back to the arms. And then you have that sudden mix.
And it gets cold.
And it gets cold, and then it goes back to the heart, and that's when you get hypothermia.
Ah, interesting. And that's something you learned in the
seminar.
Seminar?
Yeah. Yeah. So I learned that in the seminar, the hypothermia, which I found pretty interesting. Because I always wondered why you don't bring someone back up
straight away.
Yeah,
because I always see, like, you know, they wrap them in the metal, the aluminium, whatever
space blanket.
Space blanket.
Yeah.
And you're like, that doesn't seem very warm.
No, not at all.
But it's just to insulate them so that their own body heat is
heats them back up. Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if you cover them in blankets or a heater, you'd be heating them too fast.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point of like a blanket, right? Like you're not actually covering yourself from the external temperatures. Like you are, but you're trapping your internal heat, like, and making the ambient temperature around you warm. Yeah.
And which you can do in water as well, right? Like if you stay still enough in water, like you sort of heat up the water right around you.
Yeah, which is why a proper ice bath is actually supposed to have like a small filter in it to
keep water.
Yeah, to keep water moving. So you can't get that little. There is a name for it. I can't remember what it is, but it's just a little bubble of water, sort of
a couple of
millimeters. Yeah, exactly. A couple of millimeters that your core temperature or your body temperature has just heated up the little bubble around your skin, and then you can sit in that slightly warmer bubble there.
And then if you move out of the bubble, you're like, oh no, I'm freezing again.
Exactly. Yeah, it was funny. One of the guys yesterday actually pointed that out. We were sitting. He got out of the ice bath and he was talking about it, and he goes, "It's funny, at about the minute 10 mark,
you just relax."
He relaxed and he was like, oh, "Okay, this actually isn't too bad. I'm okay now." And then he goes, about 20 seconds later, he then thought, "Okay, I'm all right," and he moved his arm and flushed all the water around, and then he said, he went, "Oh, hang on, it's cold again." So yeah, it was funny.
How does it feel to be the 12th fittest man that competed
at Down Under?
Down Under.
So yeah, not even as good as regionals anymore. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. Yeah, it's a bit of a wake-up call that maybe I need to train properly now.
You say that every single year after the Open.
Yep.
Are you gonna do the next Open, like the Open in October?
Will I do it? Yes. Will I take it too seriously? It depends on whether, if they announce that will be a qualifier for anything.
I think it'll be a qualifier for next year's games.
It'll be a qualifier for next year's games, but I'm not going to go well enough to make the games. So will it be a qualifier for any sanctionals?
So it might be a qualifier for
Down Under again. Yeah. But now that's going to be so far apart, like October to May, that's a big gap. I'm thinking, will Down Under follow suit with all the other ones and just do an online qualifier? In which case, I'll probably just still be unfit, try and get strong in October, and then do the Open for shits and giggles, essentially.
So was the level of competition at Down Under less than in the past regionals have been? Or was it the same or similar? Or is it just that everyone sort of like split up because they have so many more opportunities?
I think the top 10 to 15 was similar levels.
That's where you were.
I know. That's why I said it. No, but I don't know. I feel like it was lower. People have said to me it was the same.
Yeah.
In at least the top two heats was the same. But you definitely knew that, for example, the lower down heats was significantly less ability level. But you also have to remember we had 80 athletes competing over 40 athletes. They drew from Australia as opposed to Australia,
Asia,
New Zealand, Asia, Indonesia, all these places. So yeah, we had a lot less, I think, depth going back.
With the, like, I guess you don't have all the New Zealanders, but like did the, I don't want to be rude, but like,
did they actually contribute that much in the past?
Like
how am I going to word this?
None of them ever went to the games, right?
No, I don't think so. Some New Zealanders were competitive.
I know New Zealanders are. That's why I called them.
But the other ones, no. Yeah, you're right. Like Asia, Indonesia, that sort of thing. No, they were never competitive. They're always bottom or second bottom heat athletes. Sorry if one of them's listening and they were like third heat and they're like,
stuff them. They have all the other sports that they're good at. Let us be good at sports that don't mean anything. They're already good at weightlifting, swimming, diving, all those other things.
Yeah.
So
But in saying that,
give us something.
There were still guys competing that had been in the conversation previously. And this year, like, we had Jacob Hepner come over for it, and he's again his athletes from the States. So I think the competition was still there, but just maybe not when you were that little bit further down in the heats. But as you said, that's potentially very similar to how it was.
And anyway. It was run by the people that ran regionals anyway, right?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of my pessimism on myself being like, nah, you got there because the competition wasn't as stiff, sort of thing.
Well, Jesse wasn't there this year, so.
Exactly. Yeah. Beat that guy's ass. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you're right. 100%. There was certainly.
Was it fun?
Oh, it was so fun.
Do you wish you had made it to regionals as an individual in the past?
Yeah, only for bragging rights points, though. Like, I feel like now that Jesse guy's got the bragging rights over the top. Yeah, because he went to regionals. Dickhead. No. Yeah, you're right. 100%. I wish that I had made it maybe last year or something, but as we said earlier, like, this year was probably the first year that I pulled my finger out enough to deserve it. I think anyway. The last couple of years, I think I was trying to slide in on
just
ability rather than hard work.
Yeah.
Whereas this year, I think I actually put my head down a little bit more and tried to get it done, and did. So, yay me.
That's cool, man. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks.
I wish I was able to come down and watch you, but I don't want to come to Wollongong.
Yeah.
No, I think I had something on. I think. Yeah, it was I had a wedding on, so I couldn't have come.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Dick.
I was in Mittagong. It's kind of like Wollongong.
Yeah, you may as well just come down. But
what was your favourite event?
Favourite event? Funnily enough, I think it was probably the event 6. So it was 30 sandbag cleans or sandbag over shoulder.
And what weight?
150 pounds. So
it's like 68 kilos.
Yeah. And then...
Why are they still using pounds if it's a down under championship? Do they use pound plates as well?
They use pound plates for the clean and jerk. So everyone had to work out what their kilo numbers that they wanted to hit was in pounds and write it on their arms and go out and do it that way and figure it out. And then you're sitting there with the judge who...
also speaks in kilos.
And you're sitting there looking at him going, 322, what's that? Like, is that 145? Is that 145? And he's going, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's 145. And I'm like, I need to know whether I want to hit 145. Is that 145 or not?
Is that why you ended up hitting 146?
No. So what happened there, before I went out, I decided I didn't want to be that person that went out with
140, 145, 150.
No, not that. I didn't want to write down everything on my arm. I don't know why. I was like, I'm
going to be unprepared for this one.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you know what? I can wing this. This will be fine. So I just worked out the numbers. I knew that I wanted to go 135, 140, 145. So I worked out what they were in pounds as close to as possible. And I think the numbers that I ended up having in my head were 295, 310, 320. I think those are the 295, 310, 320 pounds.
So, and we're talking about the clean and jerk.
The clean and jerk, which actually ended up working out to be 133, 139, 144.
Yeah.
And I was happy with those. And then the only reason I strayed from that a little bit, so I went 2 pounds more on the second 2 lifts. Only because I did the classic. I saw 2 1 pound plates there and went, what's 2 pounds? I'll put that on because then I'll beat everyone that goes 320.
Well, 2 pounds is about 900 grams, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not much, right? But and then I ended up regretting it, not going heavier. I accidentally loaded 327 on my last lift, which would have been touch under 150, like 149 or something. And then I was like, that's 322, right? And then one of the judges was like, yep, that's 322. And then the other one of my judges was like, no, that's 327. And then we went back and forth for a little while, ended up putting 322 on. This is like a 4 kilo PB.
Yeah.
Hit it comfortably.
And that's
then,
the 146.
Yeah, and then thought to myself, I should have just left 327 on. But I guess hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
And I had everyone.
And what if you had missed?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, what if I had missed? And I had everyone behind me yelling like, because you were given 1 minute, so you didn't actually have to have just one lift.
Yeah.
You were allowed a second lift. Like,
So it's like not like how a weightlifting comp works, where you have 1 minute to achieve one lift. It's 1 minute to achieve the best lift.
Yes, yeah. So we had 3 1-minute attempts.
And how much space in between those 3 1-minute attempts did you have?
2 minutes between each attempt.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did anyone have multiple attempts?
A lot of people went again on their first bar.
Ah.
So they hit a safe.
Yeah.
A really safe.
Yeah,
and
like
then
100?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was guys that finished at like 115.
Ah, okay.
That's where
Like
it makes
super
me
fitness
think
people.
maybe about the depth. Like,
Yeah.
wasn't there a
But
little
you
bit.
said there was 80 people instead of 30.
Yes,
Instead of
exactly.
40.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I guess that, and as soon as you get past that 40 number, you can even see it in the open. That's where the depth really starts to fall off. Like, there is a big jump between 70th and 30th.
And then if you look at what happened, like what the events were in the open in the first place, that allows for like the fitter people to get through.
Correct.
Not so much the strongest. Because there was only one event that was really like strength focused.
Yeah, but I will give it to them. The open is getting more and more
Fun.
fun. Yeah, well, fun for people like us that enjoy like high skill, a little bit of weight in there. But for, I guess, general pop that are just doing it for fun on the weekend, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
As enjoyable. But as far as trying to pick people, I think we used to have that discussion that the open was always a little bit bullshit because the guys that ended up there barring maybe the top 5 to 10 quite often maybe weren't the best guys for regionals because when you're doing 7 minutes of burpees, like you're always going to have the short, fit guy that is going to smoke you in 7 minutes of burpees even though his 1 RM deadlift is the same as mine.
Yeah. Which isn't that bad. It's just bad compared to like when you come here.
Yeah. Well,
or where you are now.
Yeah. Well, considering there's like bloody Jake the other day clean and jerked close to what I deadlift some days. Like,
yeah. What did he clean and jerk? 176?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Like I've failed 180 deadlifts this year.
Mm.
As embarrassing as that is, I have failed 180 deadlifts this year.
That's right. I failed 190.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if I squat 200 before I pull it again.
Really?
Yeah.
How far away? Do you want to squat today?
Yeah, what's the time? Yeah, I'll squat.
'Cause
I can squat.
I wouldn't mind doing some back squats. Heavy single.
Heavy single.
Yeah.
I can wear my oldies.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Do you want to sumo deadlift as well?
I'll sumo deadlift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually will sumo deadlift. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind doing squat bench deadlift
Yeah, I'll do that.
for singles.
For singles?
Mm.
Yeah. Are you
Just
just trying to embarrass me with a deadlift?
No. I know I'll sumo deadlift as well. My sumo
Okay.
deadlift's trash. Like I'm meant to test my power lifts next week,
Yeah.
but I'll do it today
Yeah.
because I've not really trained this week.
That's fair enough.
So we can do that after. What's the time now?
150.
Okay, so we've been going for like 50 minutes.
Have we?
I think so. Didn't we get here at like 2? 40 minutes we've been
40
going
minutes.
for.
Okay.
We'll go for a bit longer and then we'll go deadlift
Yeah.
and squat. and
Okay.
bench.
Cool.
Yeah, so Jake, that guy is strong. I think he should do more weightlifting comps if he ever listens to this.
Yeah, I'll message him. I'll tell him to listen to it.
It was very impressive. And the cool thing with watching some of the lifts, especially with the men, even the women, like there's some like good technique. It's
Yeah.
not what it used to be.
Yeah.
It's not Jason Kalipa like
Yeah.
squat clean thrustering what people clean and jerk.
Yeah.
It's-
Is there not still? There's still some woeful stuff happening out there.
Maybe they
though.
don't put it up. But the Jake's lifts were clean.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like pristine, pretty.
Yeah. 100%.
Except for that back leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe there's a rhyme and reason.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. When you can hold 180 kilos over your head, then you can bag out his back leg, I guess.
I'm only making fun of it because we talked about it the other day.
Yeah, I think technique itself is definitely getting better. And I think partially that's also just because of the competitiveness of the sport now. Like people won't be competitive anymore just being like what you call dog lifter.
Yeah.
Like,
but you know what? Like, I feel like there needs to be a little bit more leeway in Olympic weightlifting. Like, I don't really care much for press outs. It makes it too subjective. If you get it overhead and it ends up locked out, like, does it really matter?
I agree. It probably makes it very subjective and makes it hard to judge. But then it becomes like any sport, really.
Yeah, but a sport that's hard to judge is like as soon as there's any subjectivity into it, like you can just have a shitty breath and that'll make a big difference. Like negatively.
Yeah.
You can disagree.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I just think it's one of those things that I guess I'm going to be a little bit liberal here and say like it's not the way weightlifting has been.
Yeah.
Like maybe don't change it.
Like that's like you're trying to respect tradition. And
that's the reason. Like you know that I've always been like looked at CrossFitters and been like, you're not lifters kind of thing. Like you see a split jerk where someone, or you see a snatch where they catch it almost
on the head
and then just be strong enough to press it out. And you're like, oh, what are you doing? Like so ugly. Like I like the fact that Olympic lifting kind of has to be that pretty pristine version of it.
Yeah, I get that. And look, I really can see both sides. I like the idea of, safety is a big thing for me. All right, so like obviously if someone's catching it like this, you know, arms completely bent and having to press it out, maybe that's not safe.
Yeah.
Not the best thing for you.
Yeah.
But like, you know, when someone like unlocks and relocks,
you're fine with that.
Like that's not that unsafe. In fact, it's like safer than like dropping it on their head or hyperextending, which a lot of lifters do as well.
Yeah.
Like, is it that bad?
Yeah, but then being a sport that's such like a perfectionist sport, like it has to be perfect. Are you then allowing for people with those little technical issues or little strength issues, like with?
Are those people going to rise to the top though?
Potentially. Why not?
You reckon someone who like just presses out all the time will get to the top of the sport?
Would you say that like a back foot stepping all the way in to recover a jerk is a technical issue? Like, would you try and eradicate that from a novice lifter?
I would, but I do that.
Yeah, you do that, and you say, but I'm never going to rise to the top. But there are also lifters that have stepped all the way in. Like, didn't Ilya step all the way in with his back leg?
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, and he's like, roided to the max, but like one of the best lifters to ever live still.
Yes. Okay.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Like, so I think little technical faults still can. Like, I don't see if I can catch, rebend, and then repress out 130 kilos. I don't see any issue with. I don't see any reason why some big Russian dude couldn't catch, unlock, and relock 220.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
So, like, I think it is just allowing people to have those little technical faults that they can be lazy enough to not have to fix. I think the good thing about weightlifting is it forces you to fix those little problems. Like people that lose the bar forward all the time. Like, I don't see the difference between someone who has super poor external rotation and can't lock the bar out overhead in the bottom of a snatch properly and loses the bar forward all the time compared to someone who unlocks and relocks their elbows.
Yeah.
Like, that could be coming from someone that doesn't have an issue with it, like unlocking elbows. Like, it's never been a problem that I've had, so maybe I'm just unsympathetic. But at the same time, it's a perfectionist sport. That's why everyone in weightlifting's so uptight, because it's a perfectionist sport.
Yeah, and maybe that's because I came from like CrossFit background, like I don't care as much.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love the art and
100%.
Like the beauty of like a perfectly executed snatch or clean and jerk.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, that one wasn't that bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. And like, I am a CrossFitter, like I'm not a weightlifter. So like, you look at what I do and like, if someone hits a 150 clean and jerk or a 160 clean and jerk in the gym
and presses out the top of their jerk, I'm not going to be like, yeah, we can't count that today. Sorry. Like, I'm going to give it to them. Like, I don't care, but just I think when you're standing on an Olympic lifting platform, you should have to hit those points.
You have to show a certain level of deference to the sport.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's why I think that's why at the moment anyway, I don't know what it's like in other countries, you can probably look into it a little bit more, there is that definitely a gap that hasn't been bridged, at least in Australia, between, apart from maybe TIA, like we spoke about earlier, between CrossFit and weightlifting. Like, and I think that's because CrossFitters are allowed to get away with those technical issues and can sometimes get away with just being dog lifters that are super strong.
Yeah.
Whereas in weightlifting, you can't really get away with that.
Well, you see a lot of like the top CrossFitters in America and stuff doing weightlifting comps. Like I know Camille is now purely doing
weightlifting. Yeah.
Hello? Did someone just walk into the gym?
I only heard through here, so I don't know.
Was that our door or? Back? Joe? Maybe it was next door.
Must be.
Isn't it funny that these are so sensitive?
Yeah, well, I didn't even hear anything outside of the headphones. I only heard inside the headphones, so I thought that was why I thought it must have been in here.
Yeah. Oh, well. What was I saying again? Damn. The top, like Camille's only doing weightlifting now.
Yeah.
Trying to represent America, and a whole bunch of other lifters have moved from CrossFit to weightlifting specifically.
Do you think that's because Camille realised she got lucky one year?
Maybe.
And is not going to cut it in CrossFit anymore?
Yeah, or, like, once you're at the top, sometimes you've done what you want to do.
What do you think has a longer life expectancy?
Being a weightlifter or a CrossFitter?
Yeah.
Weightlifter.
For sure?
100%.
Yeah. What do you think has a longer peak? What do you think has a higher peak age? Like, do you think you can be the best in the world at CrossFit at 35 but only 30 in weightlifting? Obviously, those aren't the numbers, but say, like, do you think you can still be the best CrossFitter in the world at 40, but weightlifting you sort of drop out around that 35 mark? Or do you think weightlifting you can be the best in the world at an older age?
I think weightlifting you can be better at an older age because you can also take steroids.
Why? You can in CrossFit. You can take as much steroids in CrossFit as you want. Just piss in a different cup. Like they're so lax about it.
No, look, yeah. Because those two questions paired up really made me think. Because I would, at first glance, say as a general pop person, it's safer to do weightlifting. But at the highest level, you're already doing things so smart, you're probably going to be able to perform for longer in CrossFit than you would in weightlifting.
Well, how long's Froning been doing it and he's not showing any signs of
That's what I mean.
Slowing down?
I mean, so like for general pop, definitely weightlifting is a safer sport to play in. But for like longevity at the top of the field, it seems that but at the same time, maybe it's just that the weightlifting has a higher turnover of athletes.
Yeah.
Like, athletes come and go on a shorter term basis because it's an older sport.
Yeah.
Whereas CrossFit's a new sport, so the athletes at the top stay at the top for a while.
Yeah, there's not that
depth like you talk about.
Yeah, there's not a depth there yet. I think it's coming. Do you think CrossFit's dead?
With all the changes recently?
Changes, boycotting of social media.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very weird though, right? To see a company that was built on social media just be so, just flippant about it. It's just like...
If ever wanting to have success in CrossFit, have to not talk about this?
No, I don't. No, so I think so. All the people that have been fired from CrossFit HQ were actually the people that were supportive of all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
There goes
Whereas
my job.
all the people that have been more derisive, like who's that guy, Arm & Hammer, and all those guys are like on the ins now.
Yeah,
and they were banned from the games and stuff like that in the past.
It's funny how still in the know about CrossFit you are, despite not having anything to do with CrossFit anymore.
Dude, I love CrossFit. I love it so much. You know what I hate? running,
yeah.
rowing, air dyeing.
But in the open, do you really think there's okay rowing? But like
I did the
they're
open
not
this
gonna
year.
run. Yeah,
I even signed up.
be competitive.
No,
Have a go.
no.
Join me.
It's hard to do it competitively for me because I don't want to.
Yeah, it hurts more than weightlifting.
Yes. Okay. And that's the other thing. Like weightlifting doesn't hurt me that much. Like, you know, I can wake up like, oh, my back's really sore, my arms are really sore.
You get that from CrossFit anyway.
Yeah. And like that's fine. But like, you know, during a heavy set of squats where you're like doing like 10s or something, you're like, okay, 10 done. But if you put like a 10-minute clock and you're like, let's do as many squats as we can at this mediocre weight, which might end up being my 3 set of 10 anyway, and I'll get it in the same time. I'd probably freak out and cry.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But also, if you only got 30 squats done in 10 minutes, there's at mediocre weight, there's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that was just...
Yeah.
But like,
That's funny.
so like the other day we did, remember a while back you did that snatch workout where we just did 1-for-1 snatches at, what was it? Like
but that was
kilos?
CrossFit as hell. That was like...
But like the way it was set out made me do the work in a short amount of time. Like I PR'd my Isabel time.
Yeah.
And we did box jumps in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So Isabel is a CrossFit workout that's 30 snatches for time at 60 kilos.
Yeah, and we did 60 as a pair.
Yeah, we did 60 snatches each. So 60 snatches together.
1-for-1.
Yeah, so 30 snatches each plus 30 box jumps.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing that in like, how long?
6 minutes?
6 minutes. And my best ever Isabel time would be like 6 minutes 30.
Yeah.
So I did it faster, and we did more stuff as well.
I think it's that. That's one of the things that like as much as like I even as a CrossFitter I like to hate on little things about CrossFit. That's one of the things that I do like about the competitiveness of it, like that.
But it's more so. It's so like I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like I have a competitive mindset. If someone challenges me to something, like I'll probably try and do it, unless it's like something
Stupid.
silly like 5K.
Run,
row, anything 5K. I'm not going to do it. But
20 minutes of straight work.
I don't think I have the mindset to punish myself
for that long,
which is what CrossFit competition can be. It's like how long can you endure punishment? I can endure punishment for like this long. You guys can endure it for like ever.
Yeah, I actually find it. I was having this again. We were talking about this the other day. I can't remember who it was with, but we were talking about like efficient movement versus like inefficient movement.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that the guys who are better than everyone else are not hurting that badly in competition workouts.
Well, yeah, I have to believe that. Like if you watch Froning move,
watch Fraser move, like
Fraser Froning, like you have to imagine that they're just like, you know, they're just like doing their little holotropic breathing and
like freakish, hey, like ridiculous. 100%. Because you can look over at any one workout, and the guy that comes second could be rolling over on the floor, but the guy who beat him out looks fine.
Yeah, I mean, like if you ever looked back at like watching Kalipa Froning, because they're like the age-old rivalry story, right? Like Kalipa just always looked like he was hurting.
Yeah, because it's just less efficient mover.
Yeah.
Like, and I said to one of the RAW guys the other day when I bought the new lifters.
Yeah.
Bought new lifters. When I bought those new lifters, that like,
and they're very nice.
Yeah, they are. I thought to myself maybe because I've always, like since going away from weightlifting, like back when we did weightlifting for a little while.
I still do weightlifting.
Yeah, you still do weightlifting, but we don't do weightlifting. I sort of went off them because I was like, I can't always do snatches and clean and jerks and stuff in ollie shoes during CrossFit.
Yes, because you might have to do that 5K after you snatch.
Exactly, yeah, or before my snatch. And like, I don't want to be one of those guys that runs a 5K in lifters because he has to snatch afterwards.
Do people do that?
I reckon there's people that would. No, they just changed their shoes. You have 2 pairs of shoes.
Well, I mean, the original Innovates lifters were made so that you could
do
perform
everything
in them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not running, but like they just, they definitely wanted you to try a few other things.
Yeah, but then we had like Event 7 at the Down Under was
Keep talking.
weighted pistols and rope climbs.
Yeah.
And then those guys, like we had people in my heat, the second from the top heat, that were doing rope climbs in ollie lifters because they didn't want a pistol without lifters on. So like you're trashing your shoes completely for the sake of being able to pistol properly. Like that's just, to me, just seems like, again, going back to being able to hide that weakness a little bit as well. Like you obviously have an issue with some sort of mobility or strength to the point that you need to wear lifters to be able to do a single-legged squat, and you're going to allow that to affect the rest of your workout just because you're not going to be able to hit a single rep.
That's pretty annoying.
I didn't want to ever be like that. So I went away from them completely, bought a new set, going to start wearing them every now and then from now on.
Every day?
Every day. I coach in them now.
Have you? So, yeah, like I try not to coach in my lifters or anything because I am worried about...
like lordosis and stuff.
Yeah, lordosis, shortening of my Achilles.
Yeah.
They're basically like wearing heels.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, they are wearing heels, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know why women do it to themselves.
well,
Or me.
I don't hang around. I don't hang around a population that wears heels.
Yeah, neither do I.
But yeah, like if I was in the city or something, and
Yeah. The only time I see women is in the gym.
Mm.
Sad life.
That is sad. The only time I see people is in the gym.
Gym or home. That's about the only time I socialise. Yeah, 100%. It's sad, really. Like, I used to have a social life, and now we just hang out at the gym all the time.
Do you want to squat now?
Yeah, we can squat.
All right, let's go do that.
Okay.
Hey
Cool.
guys, well Steve, thanks so much for joining me today.
No worries.
Where
It
can
was
people
fun.
find you if they want to see what you're doing and see what the 12th fittest person in Down Under is for championships?
So maybe top 50 in Australia. Instagram is Steve Norman 250. That's really the only
Place
thing
to find you.
Yeah, it's the only place you can find me. Might have to make my profile private, I think, after this, because so many people listen to this podcast.
Maybe. You never know. You might get a follower. Guys, definitely follow Steve.
Yeah,
He's
for
very
sure.
fun. He don't post much, but he's a fun guy to talk to. Ask him to send you memes.
Yeah.
But not
Thank
the
you.
memes that he sends me. They're
Trash.
no, they shouldn't be for other people.
Yeah. Good point.
But we'll get you back on again when Beck's on.
Yeah, cool.
And we'll have a big group discussion
Cool.
on stuff.
Sounds good.
The broken system that is the fitness industry in Australia.
Yeah, I agree. Very broken. Unregulated and broken.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. If you didn't like the episode, just don't do anything. If you want to help the podcast grow, you can just share it, tell your friends, do all of that stuff. And if you really, really, really want to help the podcast, you now can. Making this podcast is a lot of fun, but it does cost us money, from things like equipment to bandwidth and all of those costs in between. So you can now donate to the podcast for the price of a coffee. You can make this podcast, if everyone did it, make this podcast run for another 3 months or so. So guys, all you need to do is to go to www.rawbarbellclub.com/donate and hit the donate button. Or I'm sure there's a link in the description as well. Guys, once again, thanks Steve for being here.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
Super